But I want to talk about Lamentations 2020. We'll be in the book of Lamentations, so if you have your Bibles, turn there, or in your Bible app, find Lamentations. I want to define that word first of all. A lamentation is an expression of sorrow, mourning, or regret. It's the act of lamenting. It's when your favorite sports team fumbles the ball when they were 3 yards from the end zone and could have won the Super Bowl, but they didn't. And your hands go up in the air and you moan and you groan. That's a lament. But a lamentation is when a year later you're still lamenting over. Now, as a Cubs fan, I can speak to this whole process. But how many of us have seen something happen? We have this hope, we have this desire to see something great happen and it falls apart. It might be when someone's given a diagnosis of cancer and they go into remission and everybody gets excited. Suddenly that cancer comes raging back. And all of a sudden there's a lamentation. And here's some synonyms for the word lamentation. And I'll bet some of you, especially if you've been locked up with your kids for the last 2 months, they've probably acted out some of these synonyms. Like groan, to howl, to keen. Keen means to be very, very sensitive to something. To plaint. You know what that word is? Honk your horn if you know what the word plaint, P-L-A-I-N-T is. That word means to protest. In other words, a lamentation is putting your hands out and saying, God, what in the world is going on in my life? What's happening in my world? And one other synonym for lamentation is to wail. Not the animal that's beached. To wail, to cry, to whine, to almost scream because something so terrible and bad has happened. And you're trying to understand, how in the world did this happen? Let me give you some history of the temple. The temple that was built by Solomon, which is the part of this whole lamentation, was destroyed on the 7th day of the 5th month. And 2 Kings chapter 25, verses 8 through 9 records it. It is still celebrated to this day as Tisha B'Av. Now, we know factually, even Jeremiah 41:5 said there were people who would go back to the temple area where it had been destroyed, and they would sit among the ruins and cry. So, you ever been to a cemetery, a graveyard, to visit the headstone and the grave of your parents or your family or your kids or your grandparents or somebody that you knew or a friend? See, that is a tradition that we celebrate, or that we celebrate that life by going and visiting. Every time I go back to Indiana, I try to go by and see my dad's grave and my brother's grave, my grandparents' grave. Why? Because it brings back memories of those people who I loved and spent time with, people who invested in my life. People still do that today in Jerusalem. You want to know why the temple on the mountain is such a hostile thing? It was probably closer to where the temple was built than the Jews are allowed to even get to. But see, Jeremiah, when he wrote the Lamentations, there had been devastation and destruction. The burning and tearing down of the most important religious symbol of the nation. It was a slap in the face to those who cherished it and to those who built it. See, that temple represented the heart of God for the people of God, and they celebrated his name, lifted up over them like a banner. So that building, that temple represented everything that God meant and represented for them and to them. Jeremiah in chapter 25, verses 11 and 12, and chapters 30 and 31 actually said this captivity will only last 70 years. So when Jeremiah wrote those words, it was around the same time that Daniel and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego had been taken hostage, along with many other young men, taken hostage to Babylon. They'd seen their parents and their families killed. And now they had to have their name changed, learn a whole new language, change their culture, and start serving a man who, like Nebuchadnezzar, who believed in foreign gods they were against. But even at the end of that 70 years, the survivors were so shocked. And the survivors who were there before that 70 years began were so shocked at what they saw, they could not handle it. And they expressed their deep-seated sorrow because their hopes were too heavy to see because of all the smoke of the temple had been torn down, the gates had been burned. And that's what the book of Lamentations is all about. I want to make something very clear. The Bible is a book about every emotion. It finds room for every element of our human experience, even the ugly truth and tragic loss and hopelessness. It is all about overwhelming human sorrow and suffering. I'm thankful that those stories of David's failure are in the book. It could have easily been, don't put that in there because that'll make David look bad. Oh, don't put that in there, that'll make the church look bad. Don't put Ananias and Sapphira in there because people think that God kills people in the church for sinning. We don't want that. I'm glad those things are in there. I'm glad the stories of despair and agony and betrayal are in there. We need to know there was a Judas who sold Jesus out. So the Bible finds room for all those things. And even though hope was gone, even though Jeremiah saw all these things come down, he still had some hope. I mean, when the temple was burned, it was their Pearl Harbor. It was their 9/11. It was the uprooting of the only stable ground they ever saw. And where it was like an earthquake had hit, and the road was gone. They kind of wondered they'd ever see the sun again. And some of you have been there in difficult situations, physically, emotionally, mentally. You've been there when you had no idea where the next dawn was going to come from, or when the sun was going to come out from behind the clouds. There were the moments when you doubted your faith and you wondered if God was really even still there. We've all had those experiences. We've all had those moments. I've sat with parents when they've lost a child or a stillborn baby and heard questions that I never in my life have ever had to ask myself. But to see the hurt and the wounds and the emotions come out of these things. That was where they were. Now, I want to add to something to that. In 70 A.D., Titus would destroy the new temple again. He would tear it down. Even further damage to Jerusalem. Now, the Chaldeans had broken down the walls that David had, the Davidic walls from that time frame. So badly that Nehemiah, when he rebuilt those walls, he had to go higher up on the slope to do it. It actually made the city center even smaller. So they were getting further and further away from their roots and further away from what it used to be like and look like. And today, if you go to Jerusalem, I know, Dave, you've been there, there is no trace of anything that can be linked back to Solomon. There's not one trace, because even the western wall, the blocks of stone at the base, from the time frame of Aaron. So the book of Lamentations, it was nothing more than a funeral dirge. It was a complaint to God saying, God, how in the world did this happen? How in the world have we gotten to this place? Having some wind issues. Give me just a second. Chip clips are good for more than just potato chips. Usually it's technical difficulties. We haven't had difficulties. Need help? All right. I just want to read a couple of verses from chapter 1 of Lamentations. How lonely sits the city that was full of people. Kind of sounds like they had a pandemic, huh? She has become like a widow who was once great among the nations. She was a princess among the provinces, becoming forced laborer. In other words, the people in charge are now telling her what to do, where they can go, and who they can go with, and where they can be. She weeps bitterly in the night. Her tears are on her cheeks. She has none to comfort her. One of the craziest things about this whole process of the lockdowns, limitations on funerals of 8 to 10 people. I understand there's some class action lawsuits going in several cities and several states to sue leaders because they were not able to spend the last moments with their loved ones who were dying in a hospital or dying in a nursing home. That's a tragic thing. We've never had that happen in our country. But these people are experiencing those sort of things. All her friends have dealt treacherously with her, and they have become her enemies. Judah has gone into exile under affliction and under harsh servitude. She dwells among the nations, but she has found no rest. And in verse 8, Jeremiah says this, Jerusalem has sinned greatly. Therefore, she has become an unclean thing. Now we bring out the truth. The reason it happened in Jerusalem is because they had continued to fall away from God. They walked away from their first love. They were more interested in the political things that they could do. Like Solomon made had so many wives and made so many contracts and mandates with the countries. And in doing so, he almost had to accept the gods of those people. He compromised his faith. He compromised his life. I look at chapter 2, verse 1. How the Lord has covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his anger. In other words, Jeremiah says, we deserve what we just got. We deserve what we're getting. Now, we don't want to hear a message like that in America today. We don't. We don't want to hear judgment. We don't want to hear about the negative stuff. But one day, God's going to deal a pretty hard blow to those who have stood behind Planned Parenthood. And he'll deal a hard blow to every governor that supported it while churches were shut down. Now, I don't say that as political gain. I say that as a moral obligation. The Word of God says to choose life. Choose life. One day, every politician, every elected official, every judge, every sinner is going to have every single thing they've ever done exposed, revealed, spoken out. I'm especially grateful for that with this group that we have in Congress today, both Democrat and Republican. I'm thankful that the truth is known, but God knows it. I'm thankful that one day there will be justice for every unjust situation that's happened in our world. Let's keep reading. Chapter 3, he starts with this. I am the man who has seen affliction because of the rod of his wrath. He has driven me and made me walk in darkness and not in light. Jeremiah is saying, I watched all these things happen. I watched the judgment of God be laid out on the people of God because they walked away from him. There's a reason God encourages us to walk in faithfulness, to walk in obedience, turn from sin, to do our best to live righteously and for Christ. And Jeremiah watches as that temple is torn down. He watches as the walls are burned. All those things he put his faith in. It'd be like watching the original copy of the Constitution being set on fire. It'd be like watching the White House bombed or burned. It'd be like watching the national thing that holds us together being wiped away and destroyed. And Jeremiah is crying out in despair. And I ask you, when's the last time in the last couple of months that you've cried out in despair for your country? I may not agree with everything our governor does or our president, but I pray for both of them. It's not always daily, but I pray for them throughout the week. I pray for our mayor. I pray for our county executive. I pray for our city officials. I pray for those that have ownership of so many things in our county community. Why? Because God's Word tells me to. I don't have to agree with them, just like they don't have to agree with me, but I'm called by God to pray for their wisdom, their direction, their understanding, hoping that they will follow the will of God and the Word of God. Does that always happen? No, but I'm still instructed to pray, to hold them up to the Lord. But now look at verse 19 in chapter 3. Jeremiah spent 2.5 chapters just saying, God in heaven, look what you've done, look what you've allowed, look what the people of God have allowed. He says, remember my affliction and my wandering. He's speaking to God. He says, okay, Lord, look down, remember me. Look. He basically is saying, the Hebrew gives us the concept, remember me. Look down. Hey, he's like saying, hey, God, look, I'm right here. Look, Find me. Look at me right here. Remember me. Remember me in my wandering. What's the wandering he's talking about? The doubts, the fears, the worries, the concerns that he had to deal with and face all the time while watching his country fall to pieces. Watching that temple burn and the gates burn. All those things he thought, okay, God, where are you? What's going on? And don't think the prophets didn't ever have any doubts. We know the apostles did. Remember Thomas? I'll believe it's him. I can put my finger in the hole in his hands and his side. They went back to fishing after Jesus had died. After Peter denied him. Trying to figure out what was going on. You know what? It's okay as Christians to have doubts and concerns. Because the Word says, give all our doubts and our worries, our fears and our worries to Him, doesn't it? If you're human, and all of you are, last time I checked, unless something different's happened, there's been some weird science experiment going on the last 2 months. All of us are human. All of us have emotions and feelings and understanding. Many of us have idiosyncrasies, and we're still trying to figure out how to drive people nuts. Jeremiah was there. He was like, no, this makes no sense to me. Nothing makes sense to me. But remember my affliction. Remember my wandering. The wormwood and the bitterness. He says, surely my soul remembers. I remember, God, you gave me a promise. I remember, God, you promised your people something. I remember you said you would never leave us or forsake us as long as we followed you. Surely my soul remembers and is bowed down within me. As I recall to my mind. He says, I look back to when, God, I served you and you've always been faithful. I'm the one that walked away. I'm the one that looked away. I'm the one that backed away so many times, and yet, God, you've always been faithful. And when I think about that, sometimes you've got to think back on what God's done for you, folks. Hear what I'm saying. I don't know where you're at right now, physically, mentally, emotionally. You might be weary, you might be depressed, you might be frustrated, you might be mad at the world or mad at the devil. God knows exactly where you are, and sometimes you've got to look back and remember what God's done for you in the past. Sometimes you've got to look back and realize when God carried you and picked you up, helped you over that hedge. Sometimes you've got to think back when God healed you, and God provided for you, and God touched you. Sometimes you've got to look back and think of it. I encourage you to do something. If you haven't done this before, start today. Write down in a journal or a note things that God does for you during the day, big and small. And when you have doubts, when you have fears and concerns, look back through that book and be reminded about what God has done for you. When He came through in a big way or a small way. Because then in verse 22 he says, the Lord's loving kindness indeed never cease. No matter what you're going through, His loving kindness towards you, His patience towards you will never go away. It will never stop. His compassions never fail. His compassions are for His people. His compassions are for the lost. His compassions are for the nations. But His compassions are for you and for me. Compassion is when you show love and mercy. Most of the time, the word compassion is coupled with that word mercy. Compassion is what mercy gives when you don't deserve it. And He's saying His compassions never fail. God will always have enough mercy for you when you crawl back. When you bend your knee, you say, God, I am so sorry. Forgive me. God will always have mercy and compassion for you. You got to look at it this way. Mercy is the palette. Compassion is the paint. It goes in the brush that He paints into your life. They are new every morning. His loving kindness, His compassion, they are new every morning. If you drove here today, you woke up this morning. And in my opinion, that's a pretty good thing. The 7,126 people will not wake up on Sunday, May the 10th, 2020 in this country. 7,000 people die every single day in the United States of America. 31,000 people worldwide will die today. On top of the 7,000 from here. Almost 40,000 people are going to die every single day. But you woke up and guess what? That's another opportunity to experience His love, His grace, His compassion, His mercy, and His hope. Because they're new every morning. And then that famous line has become a wonderful hymn of the church. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. I want you to ask yourself some questions today, folks. Has He been faithful to you? Has He been faithful in your marriage, with your kids? Has He been faithful to you in spite of your losses and your tragedies and your concerns? Has He been faithful to you when everything has gone right and when everything has gone wrong? Great is thy faithfulness. And you see, Jeremiah writes these words as he's thinking about the temple that he just saw burned to the ground by Nebuchadnezzar. He says, great is thy faithfulness, even though many of the young people have been taken hostage and taken back to serve Nebuchadnezzar. Knowing that some of those young men would be slaughtered and killed as they got back because they didn't meet certain standards. If you remember in the book of Daniel, they gave them certain kinds of food, right? What do you think happened to those other young men that didn't look right after that certain diet plan? You don't have to guess. They were going to be killed. Nebuchadnezzar only wanted the best of the best of the best of the crop. If you didn't meet that standard, you were gone. So when Daniel said, we're not going to eat that choice stuff, just give us water and vegetables, we'll be fine. That's why the guy was like, you guys are nuts. If you do that, there's no way you're going to meet the standard. See, God has a way of meeting the standard when you can't. God has a way of providing exactly what you need when you can't do it on your own. Why? Because He is a faithful God. Great is your faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness to me, to you, to your family, to your generations coming out of you for decades to come. Why? Because He's faithful. Because He never lets go of the plan. He never forgets the hopes that He has in you. Parents, if you've got kids that are lost, keep praying and keep trusting God. Why? Because He is faithful. If your finances are in shambles because of things not even of your own, keep trusting God. Why? Because He is faithful. When decisions have been made that have made terrible things happen in your life, stay faithful to God. Why? Because He is faithful to you. And that's why we need the church today. The church is not just a building. The church is a place where we meet. But the church is the body of Christ. And you all know this. But how much more do we need each other right now? The suicide rates in this country have gone through the roof. Matter of fact, you're 12 miles right now from the state that's leading the nation in suicides, Tennessee. You need to pray for that state. You need to pray for people that those that are struggling with that will call somebody. I've mentioned in several texts, I've done a lot of phone counseling. A lot of talking to people who are struggling and worried about where the next paycheck's going to come from. Or when they're going to get through unemployment. They don't know what to do. You may have seen even over the weekend, one of our mega church pastors in America killed himself with a handgun this week. That makes the 5th mega church pastor since January 1st to commit suicide, folks. Churches of 10,000 or more. People who may on the outside look like they've got it all together. They got lots of people coming in, lots of money coming in. But you know what? For that many mega church pastors to commit suicide since January 1st, that says something. My faith can't be in my abilities. My faith has to be in His power. His ability to work in my life and do what He needs to do in my life. It's where your faith needs to be. I want to encourage you today to realize two things. Next Sunday when we come back to meet inside, it's not going to be like it's always been. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It gives us a chance to evaluate the stuff that we're doing, the songs that we're singing, how we do worship, how we do offering, how we pray for the sick. The one thing I have missed more than anything else is having people come forward to that cross so we can pray for them. That missing element of not being able to lay hands on people and pray and make contact. That's hard for me as a pastor. To not be able to hand out communion and take it together instead of sitting in our cars like we are today. That's hard. Not knowing how everybody is, or being able to check from Sunday to Sunday how people are, if they were here or not. And you think you pastors pray and worry about people they don't see for a while. I know what it's like to leave messages and messages and messages and no one ever call back. Knock on doors and know someone's home but no one will answer. Because all the spiritual issues and the things going on in people's lives. So wherever you are today, I want to challenge you to keep holding on to the hand of Jesus. He knows exactly where you are. He knows exactly what's going on. And no matter how bad it is, church, I'm telling you, we're nowhere near, we're not even close to the situation that Jeremiah wrote about in Lamentations. Our building hasn't been burned to the ground because we serve God here. No one set the parsons on fire or dug up the ground. No one's taken down the gates. That was what he saw. And in the midst, in spite of all those things he was dealing with, he still said, okay, God, I don't like it. I hate where I am, but I know that you said you'd never leave us. I know that you are still my God. I know I can still trust you. I know I can still serve you. I know you will not let me go. And he says, great is thy faithfulness. In the midst of one of the worst things Israel had ever encountered in their lives, over the centuries, that was it right there. These are the people that walked through the Red Sea on dry land. These are the people whose firstborn sons survived in Egypt when nobody else did. These are the people who saw Samson with a donkey jawbone. Sent Philistines flying. These are the people that saw David anointed as the king, the one that killed Goliath, the rock. These are the people who saw the temple in its glory. Some of them would have been there when the cloud of glory fell when Solomon dedicated that temple. They remembered that. Those stories were passed down. And now it's gone. Like about 11 o'clock on 9/11, 2001, if you turned the TV on, I realized that all was left of the buildings was the debris on the ground. That was their moment. But even more powerful than what happened in our country, what happened to the temple. They had to swallow hard. Their entire hope and focus was gone. Thankfully, Jeremiah was reminded that although the temple was down, the God that he served in that temple had not bowed down to any other nation, any other creed, any other God, any other thing. He was still there. He was still there. He was still there. And that gave Jeremiah hope. It reminded him of the mercy of God, the faithfulness of God, the truthfulness of God, the peace of God, the hope that God gives us. In spite of what this world brings us. In the world you will have trouble. Rejoice, for I have overcome the world. The same world that tore down the temple. The same world that crucified Jesus. The same world that beheaded Paul. He still speaks to us today, folks. I want to challenge you as you leave this place today. Pray throughout this next week. I mean this seriously. Pray that in the weeks to come in our church, we see nobody get sick. Dave Hughes had told me about some things going on in Georgia, in a newspaper down there. I've been checking that almost weekly. The things they're saying about Christians and churches in the newspaper, that's based out of Atlanta, right? It is horrible. It is hate crime. It is responsible for spreading the COVID all over Georgia, all over Atlanta. They're pushing that narrative. We know better. If you've been to Walmart lately, there's no way you can social distance from some of the things that are going on. Once again, there's no way that Walmart's doing all the guidelines that we're being expected to follow on a weekly basis, or any other business in town would have to follow. But a lot of that, do as I say, but don't do as I do. Even in that situation, I've got a God that I serve who is faithful. So in light of how we feel politically or emotionally, how frustrated, mad, angry, upset we are about masks or hand sanitizer, or what the guidelines are, I want to make one very strong thing clear. We still have a voice. As believers, we still have a voice. He hears your worship, He hears your cries, He hears your prayers, and He even hears your lamentations. Everything is broken loose in your life, and nothing is stable, and nothing is solid, and nothing is good. He is still there, watching over you, holding you up. He is the God of compassion. He is the God of mercy. Great is His faithfulness to us. So stand on that this week. When the enemy tries to remind you of your failures, remind him of what God provided for you in spite of those failures. When the enemy comes in and reminds you where you're weak, remind him of how God's made you strong at other times. Think back on those times when God has provided for you, when God has met your need, when God just met you where you were, when He heard your cry and lifted you up out of the pit and put your feet on a rock. Make a record of those things. So that somebody knows, and somebody can share your testimony with somebody. Share it on Facebook. Share it on social media. Do something on Twitter. Let somebody know that God's been good to you. One last thing. The Wall Street Journal is a newspaper I kind of consult. I subscribe to it and I get a lot of information from it, most of which I trust. There has been talk already. I mentioned by the end of April, there will be almost 3.5 million YouTube videos, FaceTime, or live Facebook messages on Facebook. Realize that by the end of this month, we're going to be closer to 250 million messages on Facebook and social media. 250 million sermons have been uploaded just since the 1st of March. We have seen thousands and thousands of people from multiple nations watching our Sunday morning services every Sunday. Last time I checked, we were like 14,000. We're up now to about 19,000 people have watched our. Now look, that's 3 times the size of this county, almost. 19,000 people have watched our videos, our Facebook, our Sunday sermons, our Revelation Bible study. They've been shared by 200 different people. There's been almost 10,000 views of that commentary on Revelation on Facebook. So you combine that with the church, we're 30,000 views, folks, out of Burkesville, Kentucky. Tell me that's not God. Tell me that what the enemy meant for bad, God has not turned around for good. That's the God we serve. Why? Because He's a faithful God. He's not forgotten us. He's not left us alone. He's not turned His back too long. He knows right where we are. And folks, I'm excited next Sunday when we meet inside. I believe we're going to feel His presence in a powerful way. I hope you come prayed up. I hope you come ready. We're going to open the doors next Sunday morning at 9:30. Once you came in the middle, we'll check temperatures, we'll talk about those things, and we'll get you the sanctuary. I want to encourage you to walk in and pray. Find your place to sit and begin to pray. There'll be soft music playing. There'll be some prayer things on the screen to pray. We want to see God do things. We want to see God do things. For right now, the common areas have to be off. And I don't drink coffee, it won't hurt me, but for those that drink coffee, I'm sorry we can't do coffee for a while. But I'll bet if 10,000 people sign a petition to the governor and let people in church drink coffee, he might listen. Who knows? If I could, I'd let you. Didn't say anything about tea, though. Here's the point, folks. Let's come ready to do what God has for us to do. He gave us, we've had about 2 months of not being in our element, and that's okay. I think that sharpens us, it helps us. It gives us some new perspective. You're going to see some slight changes in the building, not real big, just some things we moved around and shifted a little bit. You'll see some seats removed from the seating for next week. But what matters is we will be together in His presence. Not separated by windshields, doors that are shut. We'll be in the same room, waiting for His presence. So, one last thing I need to say. Happy Mother's Day to those of you that are here that are mothers. All the people that have a mother in your car, honk the horn. Thank you for giving birth. I know that wasn't easy. That one really wasn't easy. Thank you for raising those babies and those toddlers. Instilling the values into those kids. Teaching, training, discipling. And even if they're not following the Lord today, you keep praying for them. There's nothing like a mother praying for her kids. Nothing like a grandmother praying for her kids and her grandkids. Let's honor the Lord as we go today. Father God, we thank you for your faithfulness, for your greatness. We are grateful for your greatness, God. Thankful that we can meet again start this next Sunday. But I'm also thankful for your faithfulness to me, to my family, to those that are sitting here today, those that are listening at home. You have been faithful to your people, God. You've kept your word. And Lord, I think you've honored our obedience in our lives. Not with reward, but Lord, with your blessing. Thank you for the things you've done in our lives and our hearts. And I pray today a blessing on every mother. And the wisdom that they instill in their kids and their grandkids. And I pray, Lord, you help us to pass on to the next generation, should you tarry. What we know about your faithfulness. And may we share it every day, Lord, because great is thy faithfulness. And we give you glory and honor and praise. In Jesus' name, and all God's people said.